Good evening and welcome to the Tuesday, May 27th, 2025 scheduled board meeting for the Mill Creek Township School District Board of Directors. Tonight, we're meeting at the Mill Creek Education Center. While the public is encouraged to attend in person, we will continue to stream the meetings live on YouTube, and all the meetings will be recorded for the purpose of future viewing. You can also view this evening's agenda as well as several additional informational items on our website, www.mtsd.org. Agendas are posted online 48 hours prior to the advertised meeting, as well as being physically posted 48 to 72 hours prior to the advertised meeting in the display case posted on the exterior of the Mill Creek Education Center. In addition, please visit us and like us on our Facebook page, Mill Creek Township School District. Also like to remind all speakers, core team members, board members to speak clearly and distinctly into their microphone so you can be heard by all of our attendees this evening, whether they are here in person or viewing us on YouTube. Thank you. Can I have a roll call, Ms. O'Connor?
Mr. Brank.
Here.
Mr. Dean.
Here.
Ms. Philbeck.
Here.
Mr. Kobylka.
Here.
Mr. Lindner. Ms. Newsham.
Here.
Miss Pasquale is absent. Mr. Winchell.
Here.
Miss Winchell.
Here.
Dr. Kavanaugh.
Present.
And Attorney Gornall.
Present.
Okay, thank you. 1.02, approval of this evening's agenda. May I have a motion to approve this evening's agenda?
Motion.
Do I have a second?
Second.
Any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Against nay, motion passes. Please stand. Join me in a pledge of allegiance.
To the republic for which stands one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
1.04, esports team recognition, Dr. Kavanaugh. Thank you, Mr. Murdoch. Okay.
Yeah, we're very excited tonight to have our esports team with us, at least a segment of them, with their coach, Mr. Burris, who's going to tell us a little bit about what they do.
All right. Find a spot, because all right, there you go. Well, thank you for having us. Yes, this is a portion of our esports team. We have been a program here in the district this is our 7th year now. We played several games throughout the seasons and all that. We're a little bit more set now. We play Overwatch 2, Valorant, Super Smash Brothers, as well as Rocket League. And so we compete against those other schools in those games across the state every single season. We usually have about 15 to 20 people every season. We're kind of at that point where I think we're going to begin to kind of grow a lot more as we're really kind of setting a little bit more of a standard for the team. We're beginning to go out, do a lot more competitions. Last year, we went to Edinburgh for the first annual regional tournament. And our Rocket League team and our Super Smash Brothers team actually ended up winning that one. And this year, we went off and faced in the Allegheny Conference Championship, and our Valorant team ended up actually winning that one. And that actually led us all off to go to states. And every single one of our teams was actually able to make it into the states playoffs in their conference or their division. They were ranked either number 1 or number 2 this season. And the Valorant team was on top of that. They were actually undefeated throughout the whole entire season this spring. And they actually made it all the way to the quarterfinals in states. And so we were able to finish in the top 8 in the state of Pennsylvania in that competition, which is pretty awesome. And coming up June 1st, we actually will get the chance to have Easton here. Easton Snyder is actually nominated and voted for the Valorant All-Star team for the state through our competition. So he was actually voted to be on the D1 Valorant team, which is a pretty awesome opportunity in itself. So we've been having a lot of fun playing the games. Hopefully we'll continue to play and grow as we go through, and just been a lot of fun hanging out with these guys and watching them play, honestly. So I think
Coach, could you have each of the team members introduce themselves and what their specialty area is?
Sure. We'll start over here.
Thank you.
Yep.
The kids are like, no.
My name is Allison Baginski and I play the Overwatch team.
Name's Jackson Simon. I play Super Smash Bros.
My name is Carter Jotty, and I play on the Valorant Overwatch 2 teams.
My name is Easton Schneider. I play on the Valorant, Overwatch, and Rocket League team.
My name is Dominic Logvin, and I play mainly for the Valorant team, and sometimes I play a little bit of Overwatch.
My name is Zoki Vote, and I play for the Smash Brothers team and the Overwatch 2.
Thank you, guys. We greatly appreciate all the hard work you guys put into this.
So what games do you play? What's the wide variety of games that you?
We compete in Overwatch 2, Valorant, Rocket League, and Super Smash Brothers.
So that were actually the names they were calling out that I never recognized.
Yeah. Yep, it is. It's a lot of fun to watch and play.
Any other questions from the board?
And you travel to compete this weekend?
No, sadly, because we lost in the quarterfinals, we are done, but we were hoping to. It was a tough battle, but if we won in the quarterfinals, we would have been traveling to Mount Aloysius College in order to compete for the states.
Thank you.
When do these competitions take place? Like where, like, do people watch?
They can, yes. We do stream it on like Twitch channels, YouTube channels, and things like that. We compete at the school itself, so we all compete remotely. And for certain competitions, we will travel, like the Allegheny Conference Championship. We went to Robert Morris University and competed there. If we made it, the states would have happened at Mount Aloysius College, but most of them will happen remotely, and then they'll be streamed, so people can then go on and stream or watch it as we stream it. Yeah.
Thank you guys again for joining us this evening. Very impressive.
Thank you very much.
Keep up the good work.
We have Chris on the line.
Good evening. Thank you
Evening,
for the
Chris.
opportunity to share information about the Mill Creek Education Foundation and our efforts to support Mill Creek students. Thank you to everyone that participated in the MEF Pop Graham fundraiser. The profits support the MEF grants program. At the April board meeting, the MEF trustees approved the following grants. Asbury Elementary is receiving funding for their grades 3 through 5 project, Stories for Every Student, to purchase inclusive language, diversity, and thinking books. Tracy Elementary received funding for usable items for their family wellness night to be held in September. And Walnut Creek Principal Kim Damcott has received funding to bring in nationally acclaimed educator and youth motivational speaker Molly Kennedy for a professional development opportunity for district educators, specialists, paraprofessionals, and administrators as part of their August in-service. There will also be a special session for students. Kennedy presents on the human factor to create meaningful connections, joyful culture, and amplify impact. MEF secured grant funding to purchase 10 fully automatic Zoll automated external defibrillator plus packages and the metal cabinets with alarms that will be installed across various buildings within the district as part of a larger Heart Safe initiative. MEF received a corporate buy-down grant that allowed us to save about $700 per device and more than $100 per cabinet. The value of the products with shipping is more than $25,000. The additional grant award will be announced with the grant maker in June. Thank you, Dr. Mary Triana and School Health Services Administrator Jackie Pamela for working with me in the very short time frame for selecting the devices before the buy-down grant expired and working with the District Safety Committee for identifying locations for the devices and beginning to plan building training. 13 Mill Creek students were awarded grants through MEF's Eller's Piece of the Puzzle Fund. 7 middle school students received funding to attend a 7-on-7 football camp. 4 McDowell students received support to participate in a cheerleading camp, and 2 students were funded to attend a USA wrestling camp and competition. All MTS students are eligible to apply for financial support to participate in a camp, club, sport, membership, scouting, or try a new activity. It's through the Eller's Piece of the Puzzle Fund, and the application is available on our website. Thank you to the MCSD staff that participated in a Jeans Day this month that raised just under $800 to support the MEF Bree Humble Fund that will be providing funding for upcoming projects that deal with mental health wellness initiatives for staff and students. Thank you to the United Way of Erie County for generously agreeing to donate a book to every MTSD kindergarten student. The 25-26 school year will be the second year for this initiative that promotes literacy through a book to welcome each student starting school. We appreciate their support. Thank you to the Erie Community Foundation and Steve Weiser, who's the VP of their philanthropic services, for choosing MEF for funding to provide for MTSD musical instrument purchases and repairs. I'm hoping these funds may be able to assist with Mr. Gilroy's inventory repair that he listed in the COW meeting a few weeks ago. Thank you to the Erie Reader and Liz Allen for featuring MEF in the Mill Creek McDowell High School Alumni Association in her May 20th article, Class Acts, School Reunions Keep Us Connected in a Wired World, Why Our Alma Maters Can Mean a Lot. You can read the digital version online. Several McDowell High School alumni groups are planning their upcoming reunions. We have information on the class of 60, 65, 75, 85, 95, 2000, and 2005. 1973 is doing a mini reunion during the Tall Ships Festival. 1983 is having a 60th birthday bash on July 12th, and the class of 64 is they're planning their 80th birthday celebration for later this year. You can find reunion information and RSVP links on the alumni page of the MEF website. You can also share your upcoming reunion information, borrow a 12-foot alumni feather flag, and get 2 alumni swag bags from MEF. The MEF Golf Tournament is Thursday, June 26th at Whispering Woods Golf Club. This is a tee time event beginning at 7:30 a.m. and teeing off in 10-minute increments. We have incredible items in our raffle, great food and prizes, and a chance for a foursome to win and hold the championship cup for a year. Sponsorships and foursome registrations are available online. Please share the info about the outing that is on our website. There's also a printable form on the page. And finally, the MEF Ashley Kuzma Memorial Resilience Scholarship recipients were announced on May 21st on what would have been Kuzma's 38th birthday. Eric McMahon and Christian Newbert were each selected to receive a $1,000 scholarship. All MEF scholarship recipients will be notified of their selection on June 3rd. Thank you. Good evening.
Thank you, Chris. Thank you to the MEF. Moving on to item 2, minutes. 2.01 school board meeting minutes of April the 21st, 2025, and 2.02 committee of the whole meeting minutes of May the 12th, 2025. Can I have a motion to accept 2.01 and 2.02?
Motion.
Have a second?
Second.
Any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Against nay, motion passes. Moving on, 3.01 visitors. Any visitors like to address the board this evening? Last call. Any visitors like to speak? Hearing none, we'll move on. Item 4, old business. Any old business? Hearing none. Moving on to 5, instruction and student services. Ms. Winchell.
Thank you. I have 16 items this evening. All of them were discussed at the May 12th committee meeting. 5.01 is the KSA tournament for boys and girls basketball, December 17 to 21 of this year in Orlando, Florida. The next several items are updates to curriculum to include the Pennsylvania STEEL standards that are to be in place by July 1 of this year. STEELS is the Science, Technology, Engineering, Environmental Literacy, and Sustainability Standards. 5.01 is K through 5 science curriculum. 5.03 is grade 6 through 8 science curriculum. 5.04 is the biology curriculum. 5.05 chemistry curriculum. 5.06 physics curriculum. 5.07 environmental science curriculum. 5.08 algebra 2 essentials curriculum. 5.09 geometry essentials curriculum. 5.10 intro to wood and building trades curriculum. 5.11 is the NACAC conference. It's recommended that we send one counselor to the National Association for College Admission Counseling Conference in Columbus, Ohio, September 18 to 20 for cost of $1,963.70. 5.12 is the grades 6 through 8 technology education curriculum. 5.13 is the Grafton Integrated Health Network Letter of Agreement. This is a 1-year agreement for crisis intervention UCARU training. 5.14 is the Special Olympics Pennsylvania Letter of Agreement for 25-26. This program involves technical guidance with staff and resources for middle schools that participate. 5.15 is the Sarah Reed Children's Center Service Purchase Contract. This 5-year agreement from 2025 to 2030 includes educational opportunities for residential treatment clients with flexibility to support all classes and students at the Ridgefield campus. And finally, 5.16, the Sarah Reed Purchase Contract. This is a contract for 8 seats in the TSL classrooms, therapeutic, social, emotional learning classrooms. Those are $26,000 per seat for the 25-26 school year. I'd like to make a motion to bring forward 5.10 through 5.16, please.
Can I have a second, please?
Second.
Any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Against nay. Motion passes.
Thank you.
Okay, moving on to personnel policy. Mr. Brink.
Thank you. We have 5 items for this evening that came through committee. Item 6.01, policy 103, discrimination, harassment affecting students, final reading. Item 6.02, policy 104, discrimination, harassment affecting staff, final reading. I'd like to make a motion to approve item 6.01 and 6.02.
Thank you. Can I have a second, please?
Second.
Any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Against nay. Motion passes.
Item 6.03, policy 707, use of school facilities, final reading. I'd like to make a motion.
Can I have a second?
Second.
Discussion.
This is the one policy that has led to a lot of discussion over the past few weeks. In our attempt to try to be fair and equitable and put every group into one of the categories, we are still working on that. So ultimately, one of the ones that has continued to come up has been the Boys and Girl Scouts. So we're looking at maybe that we need to add that everybody might not fit into the 4 categories that we have. We might have to have a subcategory, another category for such service groups. So that's why we're separating this one out here this evening to lead to further discussion from the board to get some input.
Yeah, I think that after Mike Linder brought that up a little bit and had some discussions, I'm an Eagle Scout, so, know some people with that. And I had received an email. I know some of you other may also, but realize that this group is a little bit different because they really give a lot back also, good partnerships. And, I'd received some comments from the Assistant Scoutmaster, Brett Sussler. Troop 52 has been using Grandview Elementary. So I just want to share this so the board understands some of the things that they've done and some of the partnership that's out there for almost 35 years. And even before PAC, when the school was built, of which I was part of then, of Sussler. Over the last 10 years, the troop has done Eagle projects of buddy benches and the table at Grandview, lost and found cabinets at both Grandview and Chestnut Hill, an outdoor classroom in the courtyard of Chestnut Hill, which is in the planning to be redone and expanded, picnic tables at both Bell Valley and Chestnut, outdoor pools, courtside benches, trash receptacles at the playground at Chestnut Hill. This June, an outdoor storage closet is being planned for Grandview courtyard and sensory classes, for the sensory classes. Troop also takes care of garden space on the north side entrance to Grandview and the sign, which is also a Monarch way station. Our sister PAC 352 at Asbury has also done a picnic table and a little free library. There's also a project for the AF Junior ROTC at McDowell, planned to be done soon. As you can see, we can and are returning to the school district with our time, talents, and monies. Most of the projects are funded by contributions and donations from the boys themselves. Some former projects, the PTO has also contributed. So it's just so hopes that we can continue the township school district facilities and continue to give back to our host schools in a mutually beneficial manner. So it is a little unique to maybe some of the other people that use our facilities. The only thing that, I ask Aaron because of this, the business office, is maybe there could be some kind of reconcilement or something to make sure that we are kind of getting the appropriate in-kind services back for the the appropriate rental that we're waiving. I don't know if the rest of the boards feel that way or not. I'll just open that up for discussion. I mean, Mike had brought it up last meeting. I kind of looked into it a little bit more and said, yeah, this is a little unique, this organization. So, and what they do with the partnerships.
I agree with that. I think we should look into it.
I appreciate the people that took the time to send emails. They were very respectful and filled with information, and that's how we get information. And the more information we have, the better decision we can make. So thank you for those that reached out to make us aware of some of the things that scouting troops do.
So I'd like to see if we could put this back through committee for further discussion, and then, you know, whether it's at the committee of the whole or at the June board meeting, vote for it. I know, Aaron, you wanted to have some of these in place by July 1, so I guess I leave that back to you if you want to bring it back to the committee of the whole meeting in June.
Our hope would be, if the board is okay with this direction, is to look at the possibility of adding another category or subcategory for service organizations such as this, come up with a fair and equitable plan for that, make it part of it, and then bring the entire thing back at the committee of the whole to approve it so we can implement it in July 1 for everything else.
Okay. Any other discussion?
So would this be kind of like an in-kind trade with hours? If you had, the scouts had 10 people working for 2 hours on a certain project, and then we would give them 2 hours in the gym, for example. We certainly aren't going to do an in-kind trade for the football field or the swimming pool or something like that.
I guess I leave that back up to administration with their recommendation.
Okay.
There's a lot of community projects that the administrators might need or want or ask around their buildings and throughout the other part of the district, I guess. I guess I leave that back to Superintendent Aaron to try to work through that.
It is something that we would definitely have to work through, but ultimately I've been in a few of our buildings over the years and knew some of the projects that Gary shared before. I was not aware of all the different projects they've done over the years because I'm not in every building to see that completion. So I think we'd have to work with them. And Aaron, I thought, had a pretty good idea of how they could provide us that information at the end of each year, if you want to share that.
Excuse me, I was just thinking that in regards to the project, and this is just brainstorming, is working with the administrator of the building that you're using to define what those projects will be, that will be given an annual in kind, and then part of being a part of that category would require that organization to provide an annual report to the superintendent and or designee to provide what annual in kind services were provided for the last year.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
And that report would be required in order to maintain the eligibility to be within that category.
Any other discussion?
I'd like to make a motion to table.
Second.
Okay. So with that, all in favor of tabling it till the committee meeting in June, say aye.
Aye.
Against, nay? Okay, motion is tabled. Thank you.
Item 6.04, revised job descriptions. There's actually 6 revised job descriptions, but the one you see for secretary to assistant principal elementary schools is the only one we need to correct. So I'd like to make a motion to approve item 6.04.
Second.
Okay, we have a motion second. Any discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Against, nay? Motion passes.
Item 6.05, the May 27th, 2025 Personnel Board Report. At Asbury, we have a recommendation for a kindergarten teacher. At Walnut Creek, we have a leave of absence for a family consumer science teacher. Westlake, we have a leave of absence for a 7th grade science teacher. At Ridgefield / Sarah Reed, we have a leave of absence for a special education teacher emotional support. At McDowell Intermediate, we have a recommendation for a special education teacher autistic support temporary professional contract. At the Mill Creek Education Center, we have a resignation of an accounts payable specialist. We have a recommendation for a school security officer. We also have department chairs for 2025, 2026, 2025 summer ESY staff, a change of status for a communications secretary part-time to communications secretary full-time, and a furlough of a pre-K assistant. I'd like to make a motion we approve 6.05.
Can I have a second, please?
Second.
Any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Against, nay? Motion passes. Thank you, Mr. Brink. We go on to item 7, month-end close reports. Mr. O'Toole.
Thank you. 7.01 and 7.02 are informational items, 7.01 being the enrollment summary and 7.02 being our investment summary. Are there any questions or concerns with those two reports? Hearing none, I would ask that the board take 7.03 through 7.07 as a block, 7.03 being the student activity accounts for the last month, 7.04 budget transfers, 7.05 our bond money summary reports, 7.06 our treasurer's report, and 707 being our financial reports for all the respective funds.
Okay, thank you. Can I have a motion to accept 7.03 through 7.07 for month-end close report?
Motion.
Do you have a second?
Second.
Any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Against, nay. Motion passes. Thank you. Moving on, item 8, Finance and Operations Committee. All these items that will be voted on this evening were discussed during the Finance and Operations Committee on May the 12th, 2025, and public had an opportunity to ask questions. So I will take 8.01 through 8.16 as a block. So 8.01, electrical switchgear upgrade. It's to replace the switchgear at Tracy Elementary School. It is original to the building and has had issues in the past that warrant a replacement to ensure reliability of power for the building. Cost is $97,550. The next 8.02 through 8.05, preliminary allocations were approved on 8/19/24. Now we will approve the final allocations, and that would include 8.02 final Title I service agreement, Northwest Tri-County Intermediate Unit for $34,725.98. 8.03, the final Title I services agreement, Fort LaBeouf School District 24-25, in the amount of $1,858.34. 8.04 is the final Title I service agreement, Erie City School District, 2024-25, in the amount of $14,078.10. And 8.05, the final Sarah Reed formal agreement for Title I Part D funds, 2024-25, in the amount of $63,936. We have a donation to the PAR team, PAR team. We also 8.07, student account activity account officers change. McDowell Intermediate High School has updates to the student activity account officers that were board approved on March the 24th, 2025. 8.08, accounts payable report, approved accounts payable report. We have the payroll reports of April the 18th, May the 2nd, and additional payroll report of May the 2nd. Also, another additional report on May the 2nd and the payroll report of May the 16th. We have a motion for year-end closing. In the Mill Creek Township Board of School Directors approves the closing of the 24-25 fiscal year books, close the 24-25 books as of June the 30th, 25. Pay the bills that may arrive and are due, transfer funds necessary for the completion of the budget expenditures, direct the school district auditors to proceed with conducting the necessary financial transactions and audit for the close of the fiscal year. Actions of the administration be reported at the next regularly scheduled board meeting in August. Additionally, request authorization to pay bills weekly until the next regularly scheduled board meeting in August. 8.10, the treasurer for 25-26, looking to approve the naming of Joe Maloney for the 25-26 school year. 8.11 is a copy paper quote. That quote is to establish paper. That cost remains the same as the prior year of $24,133.20. 8.12 is the Power School contracts. Upgrade quote references a mandatory software upgrade for our accounting and HR software. Power School requires a mandatory upgrade every 3 years. That was $22,756.50. And a consulting quote relates to the purchase of 116 consulting hours related to the Power School software use for HR and accounting. This agreement helps troubleshoot issues we experience throughout the year, allows for training of new employees, and is a good resource on how to utilize the software to the greatest extent possible. That is $23,664. 8.13, the McDowell High School huddle agreement for $60,000. That's a 3-year contract, and it provides a software for our athletic teams to watch tapes of opponents or our team. And again, that's a 3-year contract agreement for $60,000. 8.14 is the insurance management company workers' compensation insurance renewal for 25-26. That is in the amount of $135,427, increase of $2,000 over last year. 8.15 is a transportation service agreement. That is these, if you recall, the analysis provided in February, we received 2 bids for transportation services, and the STA bid was $339,000 higher compared to First Student. During the recent committee meeting, a request was made to amend 16.1 to reduce the maximum age of the bus from 14 years to 10 years. First Student has agreed to this modification with the condition of incorporating language related to alternative transportation vehicles. These changes are highlighted in red within the Exhibit B that you had provided before the meeting. The adjustments clarify alternative transportation vehicles may be utilized to supplement services that were Solvent is unable to meet our requirements. However, there is no obligation to use this program. And the second attachment that you had received provides a clean revision. So I know, okay. And 8.16 is a food service management company contract. Looking for approval this evening of the food service management company contract with the Nutrition Group, July 1, 2025 through June 30th, 2026, and approving the food service contract. The Mill Creek Township Board of School Directors looking for approval this evening for the food service budget with rates with revenues in the amount of $4,178,975.07 and expenses in the amount of $3,960,165.30. And recommended meal rates are listed as following. Breakfast in the elementary level are free. Breakfast in secondary are free. Breakfast for the adults, $3. Lunch at the elementary is $2.55. Lunch at secondary is $2.70. And lunch adult is $4. Adult meals price increase from the prior year to maintain compliance with adult meal prices compared to student prices. Student meal price did not change from the prior year. So I'd like to take 8.01 through 8.16 as a block. Can I have a motion, please?
Motion.
Can I have a second?
Second.
Any discussion?
Yes, I just have one question. Mr. Tool, on 8.15, you granted access to their GPS software?
No, that was a question that I was asked or I asked, excuse me. And the answer to that I received at that moment in time was, no, we won't grant you access, but we'll provide you the reports. I'm still pushing on that direction.
Concerned with that. We're going to hold them accountable for timeliness. Yep, we are going to have to abide by whether or not they tell us whether or not buses are speeding. That seems like a significant conflict.
Understood. And with that said, I'm trying to find a common ground where we don't need access to all the data, but just access to how to run a specific report so we can actually run it ourselves, and trying to find a common ground. I mean, what you're mentioning is business 101. You don't let the fox guard the hen house, essentially. So with that said, we'll try to figure that out. But as of this time, I think it was you that asked that question at the last meeting, and we've been following up and trying to find a common ground. But as of right now, they said no.
Was there a reasoning behind that, why they said no?
From my understanding is it has to do with the data, and which is where I was kind of going with it, finding a compromise. Is we're not asking for the back end access that we can manipulate data and so on and so forth. We're just asking for report generating access out of that. And I thought that would be a common ground. And I've used that on a number of different audits with federal government and the state in the past. That seems to be sufficient from an auditing practice. So we're still discussing that as we're moving forward.
What does passing this do to your leverage in that conversation?
I'm sorry, say that again. I
What
didn't
does
hear you.
passing this tonight do to your leverage in that conversation?
I think we have the same leverage regardless. At the end of the day, we're both in a position that it is too far in terms of timing where, I mean, it's too far to back out regardless of one way or the other. So, I mean, we would leverage some of the clauses in there in regards to the liquidated damages and even the timing of being able to get out of and opt out of the contract overall if we absolutely necessary. But I do think overall, it's just the 2-week timeline between the committee to now, I think was too short for us to really establish exactly what that's going to look like. I think we'll be able to find a common ground.
Any other discussion? I do have one couple of questions for Aaron, I guess, on 8.09, motion for year-end closing. So, Mr. O'Toole, can you maybe let us know, the board know too, the child development program? I know we extended that. We did quite a bit of marketing last year to kind of promote that. So how does the year end look for the child development area?
About the same as last year. We'll lose about $250,000 is where we're forecasted to be.
And what's the registration look going forward?
I'll provide the board a report for that in June. The registration's coming pretty good. Actually, right now, we are doing very well with our tuition slots. We're having more trouble filling the pre-K slots, especially on the eastern part of town, but I will have that information coming up. And we did also shrink it down. We got rid of one of the classes, so we're down to 4. So that'll make it a little bit easier for next year.
Well,
But I will follow up with the more detailed information at our next meeting.
Thank you. Thank you. I know that Erie County and the gaming authority is working hard. I don't know if you've seen any of that. They're trying to create 2,500 affordable slots throughout Erie County with some of the daycare development deserts, as well as retention bonuses for some of the providers. So I think that good timing too, to kind of free up that, give everyone affordable childcare.
Yeah, the good news is this year, the tuition spots are filling. The pre-K count slots are the ones we're still looking to fill. But if we look at where we are at this time this year compared to where we were last year, we're about the same one. It was kind of late to the party group last year. Hopefully they continue to come forward, because if they do, we'll be in good shape.
Great. Okay, thank you. Any other discussion? Any items? Okay, we have a motion. We have a second. We've had discussion. 8.01 through 8.16. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Against, nay. Those pass. Okay. 8.17, the Mill Creek Area Community Band. The Mill Creek Township Board is looking for approval this evening and payments in the amount of $25,087.75. So this is coming forward as a motion as it appears on this evening agenda to approve this. Can I have a motion to approve this?
Motion.
Can I have a second? Second. I'll second that. Discussion.
I want to make sure that I understand the situation correctly. So the group used the facility and stored music there for years and years. No one knows exactly how many years, but it's been a lot of years. There was no fee for usage and there's no fee for storage, and there was no contract. So during the renovations, the stored music there was either lost or discarded. And we received this bill for $25,000 to replace the music. I'd like to share a couple of concerns that I have that give me pause in approving a $25,000 bill like this. The last inventory that was done by this group was done in 2011. That was 14 years ago. So the bill assumes that they've not lost or misplaced any music in 14 years. Not very reasonable, in my opinion. The bill also includes speculation of purchase of 130 pieces of music. They're guessing that they buy about 13 per year. And the cost on that is $8,400. And then the bill includes $5,224 for music that's no longer in print. If it's not in print, why are we paying $5,000 for it? The situation is regrettable. It shouldn't have happened, but it did. I just don't know that asking the taxpayers to pay for this is a reasonable ask. I think that group needs to accept some responsibility for the fact that perhaps they should have relocated that music during a renovation the size of the renovation that was done. Maybe they should have inventoried it on a more regular basis. I don't know, maybe they should have insured it. If it's worth $25,000, maybe they should have insured it and included receipts instead of just speculation that perhaps we purchased 13 pieces of music per year. I'm not in favor of approving taxpayer money for the replacement of these music sheets.
I agree wholeheartedly with your thoughts, 100%.
I agree also. I I guess what comes to my mind is if a student or a faculty member or someone brings something to school and it gets taken or it disappears, we don't pay for it. I do think it's a very sad situation that it happened. I agree with you, but I don't think we should be held responsible for it.
Okay, any other discussion?
You want to share the information that we discussed this afternoon?
Let me know if this is it, because we talked about a lot this afternoon.
The insurance, because we had not made the board aware yet because we didn't know until late today.
Yeah, our insurance company. So meanwhile, when we were contacted about the music going missing, and we ended up receiving the value of the supporting documentation that you see at hand here tonight, we did turn it into our insurance company, not theirs, to clarify. And our insurance company did come back finally today, probably like 5 o'clock, and say, we'll cover it. So there is an opportunity to go down that path. I think it's at a $500 deductible, and going down that path. What does that really mean long-term for our insurance? It's going to be added to our loss runs. We're going to pay premium for that years down the road, but that is an option that we just discovered today at about 5 o'clock.
Still, in the end, the taxpayer's paying the bill. Because our premiums are going to increase.
They will.
$500 out their music.
Yeah.
Mill Creek Bandit brought the school district, they employ or employees throughout the.
Correct.
Were they given notice at the beginning of the summer before the construction started? Or the idea that we didn't have a contract, it kind of just slipped through the cracks?
Let me shed a little light on the contract component of that. Is after going back and looking at all the details related to this, is we use FMX, which is our facility use software, and you have to log onto the page up front when making that registered. About 2 years ago was the first time that this organization started using this program. I think 2 years ago, and it might be 3, give or take, 2 or 3 years ago. The first year they funneled everything through the Mill Creek Parks and Rec. And then I believe last year was the first year, I think it was roughly August, that they actually had their own insurance, uploaded it into FMX, which is required you have to have your own insurance. When you're going in there, we have a blurb on there saying, look, if you're accessing the site, you are essentially agreeing to policy 707, and then you are also required to upload a certificate of insurance before you can even request renting the facility or utilizing the facility. So when we're talking about no contract, did we have something in hand? No, we didn't. Do we have a certificate of insurance, proof of that? At the end of the day, do we have proof of insurance related to this organization? We do, one that is still valid right now, currently. In addition to that is they did see when renting that, while that may not be a legal contract that you're signing, and looking at our website, they did agree to policy 707, which clearly states that we're not held liable for those certain components. However, prior to those years, I really don't answer what type of agreement. I don't know what type of agreement was made with them. I'm assuming that was several principals ago, or superintendents or business managers at the end of the day. So I wanted to shed a little light when you're saying no contract. Policy 707 is pretty clear on that when you go to rent as we're moving forward. And they do have their own insurance policy.
Did they submit it to their own insurance company?
I don't know the answer to that.
And moving forward, will they no longer store it here?
I mean, we haven't had that discussion in greater detail. I mean, policy 707, as we talked about, I mean, it's pretty clear in there that we're not going to be held liable for anything that is stored there. So moving forward, that will be emphasized for any organization.
Well, if our past policy said we're not held responsible, then I don't think we should turn this into our insurance.
So does not being held liable equate to us discarding? Like liable, when I think about that, is the roof leaks and it gets damaged. There's an act of God and it gets damaged. Not we actively discard your belonging.
Well, Michael, it wasn't a deliberate or malicious kind of a thing.
No, you're correct. It wasn't, but it also wasn't an act of God type of thing. It was by negligence. Someone made a mistake, whether on purpose or by accident, but it's short, it's negligence that they threw it away.
Are we setting a
could've just
precedent
been-
by paying it?
It's not a place to answer.
I don't.
I guess I'm just a little concerned also. We've talked about this a little bit. You correspond with them. We had committee meetings. We haven't received any emails. It's kind of like, they haven't submitted to their insurance. It's like, how proactively are they trying to solve this issue along with us versus sitting back and said, you owe us $25,000. That's my other issue with this.
I think they were waiting to hear from where it was going with us because ultimately they turned it into us. They were waiting for our response until they got involved, I do believe.
Okay.
It feels like it's appropriate for their insurance to cover half and our insurance to cover half, because it seems they didn't watch the stuff as much as they should have, and we threw it out.
I'm not sure that's possible. I mean, I can look into it at the end of the day, but typically when you're turning something in for the insurance, they're looking to cover the entire cost of the total issue at hand.
I guess I wouldn't be comfortable voting on this until we know if their insurance was going to cover it. They have a liability insurance of $1 million.
Yeah, whatever. I'm pretty sure that it's in policy 707. We didn't change that coverage. Pretty sure it's $1 million in per occurrence, 2 million aggregate.
Would you like us to approach them and say that at this time, we want them to turn it into their insurance to see what they get?
I still don't understand why they wouldn't have done that first. Why wouldn't you?
What is
Turn it
their
into-
liability umbrella insurance actually? Does it cover loss of property, or does it cover in the event that you are accused of damaging someone else's property? Is it like minimum coverage car insurance where if I hit you, you're good, but my car is totaled? Or is it every scenario is covered for your institution? Because typically those $1 million umbrella policies just mean you have $1 million in the event you do something to our facility that will cover us, not their institution's belongings.
As with all insurance, the devil's in the details, right? I don't know the answer to that. I think that because even if it says $1 million coverage, you'd have to ask for the actual policy itself to dig through and find that answer. And we don't ask for the policy, we only ask for the certification.
You just want to get paid for damage our facility. Or if something happens that reputably harms the necessarily care of the detail.
I would like to call for the vote and be done with this.
Okay, let's.
So even if our insurance is going to pay it, we're going to choose not to pay it. That's the suggestion.
It's still going to cost us, and it's going to cost taxpayers money down the road with increased premiums. It is very regrettable. I am very sorry that this happened, but accidents happen. In a renovation the size of that building, of course things are going to happen. They're not done purposely, but of course things are going to happen. I think this organization has to take some responsibility for safeguarding things that they value.
Along those lines, I can assure you, I was principal of that building for 5 years. I had no idea they were storing stuff in the building at all. Didn't even know they were in the building. So however long this agreement's been is well beyond that until it officially became an FMX a few years ago.
Okay, we have a motion, we have a second, we've had discussion. Roll call vote. So a yes would be to approve the $25,087.75. A no would be to deny the payment.
Is a yes? I make a motion to amend. Yes is to approve the $500 insurance payment with premium increases, not actually to approve.
Well, it's approval of $25,087, running it through our insurance with the $500.
Well, I think you should clarify that. Because if that's what you,
Yes, I
let's
would
be,
like it to be clarified that yes is to approve this, covering the $25,007.75
if Mill Creek School District's insurance
Insurance
covers it and the
cost of
district will pay $500.
Correct.
Okay, so that is an amendment, the insurance and the paying of the $500 deductible. So is there a second to that amendment only?
I'll second that. Any discussion on that? Okay, so this would be a vote to accept the amendment as stated. So roll call vote for that.
Mr. Brink, No. Mr. Dean,
Yes.
Ms. Philbeck,
Yes.
Mr. Kabilka,
No.
Mr. Lindner,
Yes.
Ms. Newsham,
No.
Mr. Winchell,
Yes.
and Ms. Winchell.
No.
4-4.
So it doesn't pass.
Does not pass.
Okay, so the amendment does not pass, so it goes back to the original motion, which is looking for approval for the payment amount of $25,087.75 to the Mill Creek Area Community Band. Can I have a roll call vote? So again, yes, we're to approve it, no was to reject it.
Mr. Dean,
No.
Ms. Philbeck,
No.
Mr. Kabilka,
Just to clarify, if I vote no, we're not paying?
Correct.
No.
Mr. Lindner, Ms. Newsham,
No.
Mr. Winchell,
No.
Ms. Winchell,
No.
and Mr. Brink. No.
Okay, that motion fails. 8.18 is the final budget, 25-26. And due to some timing and advertising complications, I'd like to postpone this item tonight and move it to for approval of the final 25-26 budget to the June Committee of the Whole meeting on June the 9th, 2025. Can I have a motion to do that, to postpone this till the Committee of the Whole meeting?
Motion.
You have a second?
Second.
Any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Against, nay. Okay, that concludes the finance and operations. We'll move on to item 9, superintendent's report. Dr. Kavanaugh.
I'll wait till my remarks at the end to share with you.
Okay, thank you. Item 10, new business. Any new business? Hearing none, moving on to solicitor's report.
I have no report.
Okay, remarks. School board remarks. We'll start with 12.01, Mill Creek Parks and Recreation. Ms. Newsham.
Yeah, we had a meeting on May 7th. They are in the process of hiring for summer jobs. They especially need lifeguards, a tennis instructor, day counselors. Equipment has been purchased and the Asbury Barn should be recited this year. The Chestnut Hill pool liner is all in the budget. Rentals have been good so far, but rented for Fridays, Saturdays, and Sundays this summer. Day camp weeks have been sold out for this summer already. 633 people have participated in free classes using a gold card that you are eligible to get when you turn 60. And I had asked about that, and apparently you go to the township building and they get you a gold card and you can take up to 3 free classes a year. I guess it is. The truck was very successful, especially if you have little kids who enjoy fire trucks and ambulances and things like that, is going to be held up Saturday, August 16th from 10 to 1 at Asbury Park.
Okay, thank you. Moving on to 12.2, PSBA. Mr. Brink.
Nothing to report.
Okay, thank you. Moving on to 12.03, school board remarks. Any remarks from any of the school board directors?
Yeah, I wanted to make a couple remarks just on the upcoming budget that we're going to pass or look at. And in looking back through that, Aaron back in March, I guess February or March, made a presentation, and a couple of things just really stuck out in my mind or comments that I wanted to make. The first is I often read on Facebook that we want to raise the taxes because we want to pad our pockets with money. And I just wanted to reiterate what we've said before. We do not get paid for this position. It is voluntary. So any taxes that come in, we get nothing from that. None of us on the board like raising taxes, but unfortunately, I think it's something that we need to do. In his report, Aaron mentioned that transportation is increasing $962,000 next year. That's about 20%. That alone would necessitate a 1.5% tax increase. The healthcare is going to go up $1.8 million. which is roughly 16%. In the charter schools, we annually pay out about $3.5 million to the charter schools. To not think that we're going to have to raise taxes is really unrealistic. Mill Creek is considered a wealthy district. In other words, they feel that we have the wealth that we should be able to come up with a lot more money than other districts around us. 66% of our budget comes from local taxes. We only get 32% of our money from the state. A lot of surrounding districts get a lot more money than we do. As far as our taxes, we are middle of the road compared to the other districts around us. We aren't the highest district around. There's 501 school districts in the city of, or in the state of Pennsylvania. There are only 67 of those 501 that spend less than we do per student. And I'll end that with, I taught in the district for a lot of years, and there were 2 years in a row where they did not raise the taxes. And in order to do that, there were a lot of positions cut. And as a teacher, I know one of the positions that was cut, other than I believe in elementary, were the instructional support teachers. I think they go by a different name now, but those are people that they took those kids that were barely making it and they work with them. Well, since then, we've placed all the IST people back in the buildings. That position is so important. So to balance a budget, cutting positions is not an idea that works for the kids in our district. And so I just want to explain, none of us want to raise taxes, but in my opinion, we have to continue the education that we're giving the kids in Mill Creek.
Thank you, Seth. Thank you.
Any other school board remarks? Hearing none, Dr. Kavanaugh.
Okay, so I would like to share, the Mill Creek Township School District recently was recognized as Great Pennsylvania School District by the Pennsylvania School Boards Association and has received the GPS ribbon. This recognition reflects our dedication to academic excellence, strong community engagement, resilience, and fiscal responsibility. So I'm going to share with you the note that we were given, the message from PSBA directly. And it says, I'm pleased to be here on behalf of PSBA, our governing board, staff, and the entire association to celebrate the Mill Creek Township School District as a great Pennsylvania school. This honor recognizes schools that demonstrate commitment to rigor, community, resilience, and financial health. We applaud you and your dedication in all areas. Your students are both successful and challenged by the district's curriculum, which drives student engagement. Innovative school programming, plus honors and awards celebrating student success, foster a sense of belonging and connection to the school community. A robust extracurricular activities help your students develop as well-rounded individuals. Your district demonstrates the importance of caring for students holistically through emergency preparedness and mental health supports. While offering these many benefits for students, you remain grounded in financial health through budget development, financial audits, and compliance with bid requirements. This achievement is an opportunity for the Mill Creek Township School District to promote public education excellence in your community. Take time to celebrate your great Pennsylvania school designation. Congratulations and thank you for allowing us to be part of this milestone. So I wanted to share that with the board. There's a small token at yours. Now, my message on this part was something I shared with the board this week that I want to share with the public. An award of this nature is attainable due to the dedication of our outstanding students, our dedicated educators, our supportive families, and strong leadership, and a school board that champions the initiatives enabling our successes. Thank you for your dedication and contribution to our school district. We sincerely appreciate your support in helping us achieve this award. And you can see the banner that's up here. So it's everybody that's in the district, from students to staff to families to you as a school board. Thank you for making this all possible. And that is it for me this evening.
Thank you, Dr. Kavanaugh. Great news. Number 13, adjournment. The next regularly scheduled meetings of the Mill Creek Township Board of School Directors will be held Monday, June 9th, 2025. Committee meetings begin at 6 p.m. There are 3 committees held, one right after the other: Instruction and Student Services Committee, Personnel and Policy Committee, Finance and Operations Committee, Committee of the Whole. Committee of the Whole meeting will typically begin immediately following the last committee meeting for the evening. We have a motion for 13.01 adjournment.
Motion?
Have a second.
Second.
Any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Against nay.